Wakubwa shikamoni, wadogo mshindaji, matumaini yangu mko wazima, fresh and clean kama kawa. Karibu sana ndani ya Mwelekeo TV. I'm your host Tony Nyakoko aka Trouble Nyakoko, na kama kawaida this is the home where data meets a dialogue. Na kama wewe, if you're a big fan of data research, then this is the platform where you can always get all the information. This is our first episode, by the way. This is our first segment. So a humble request to you, kindly consider subscribing on our YouTube channel. YouTube, it's Mwelekeo TV. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Mwelekeo Insights. And I will be briefing you about what we do as Mwelekeo Insights. Now, Mwelekeo TV is a new space we've created to bring research closer to you. I'm quite sure umeona research mingi zikiwa released on your TV on different platforms, and that's why Mwelekeo TV, we're bringing data closer to you, where we can have candid discussions and conversations about some of the researches that we've conducted. We shall be having a panel discussion with a beautiful lady. That's later on. But right about now, let's talk about what we are focused on as Mwelekeo TV. And one of the things is that we are opening up research to make it accessible and to show what happens behind every statistics and every story that we intend to give. And also, this is a platform for anyone who wants to understand Kenya better. If you're a Kenyan consumer, then this is a platform where we get to bring you some of the best researches, some of the researches we've conducted from different parts of the country, including all the 47 counties in our country. Now, so in this and future episodes, we'll not only unpack our past studies, but also bring in the voices, some of the voices that are behind our researches, and also perspectives and discussions that matter to you. So there's no reason why you should not subscribe to our YouTube channel. And finally, our viewer, wewe kama mwana Mwelekeo, kindly subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend that Mwelekeo TV kwa hivi sasa tuko kwenye YouTube, where we shall be bringing you candid discussions about what's happening in our country and beyond. Talking about Mwelekeo Insights, we have one of our very own in studio. Karibu sana Frida.
Thank you so much.
I must confess kwanza unakaa vizuri.
Nashukuru
You look
sana.
amazing.
Thank you.
Now let's just tell us who Frida is kwanza tukianzia hapo.
Well, I'm Frida Mungare, a researcher from Mwelekeo Insights. I'm glad that you're hosting us today to have a discussion around Mwelekeo as a research organization.
Kwanza umesubscribe kwa channel?
I'm tuned in, vibaya sana.
You've done it?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about some of what Mwelekeo Insight is all about, because I acknowledge it's a research firm.
Yeah.
Yes, tell us what it's all about.
Well, Mwelekeo Insight is a Kenyan-based research organization that specializes in research and data-driven analysis that are geared towards capturing, amplifying public sentiments on a wide array of national issues. Yeah. Now,
as a research company, I'm quite sure you have a vision, you have a mission, your core values. Ama nyinyi mwanza tu chini ya maji?
No, of course, as a research organization, like every other research organization, we have a vision, we have a mission and core values. I'll quickly tell you about our vision. Our vision is to be to stand out as the most trusted research and data-driven insights across Africa. Yeah, with a mission of delivering accurate, reliable, and impactful research that would influence development, drive development, and of course, empower communities. Like any other research organization, we have our core values. You cannot operate without values. Every place has rules.
True.
Kuna sheria ambazo zigovern. So of course, as a research organization, we have our core values, and these values are integrity. We believe in accuracy, innovation, and of course, client centricity. We are centered to our clients, are our biggest boss, so we are centered towards them, and of course, we have ethical responsibility.
So leo ukipatiwa Biblia ubebe kwa Frida uambiwe the data ama the research, the opinion polls zenye mna release ziko za ukweli, you can testify za ukweli?
I can't testify. I can't testify that this is true. This is as true as we collected. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the areas of specialization, areas of work as a research institution. Because nimeona kuna research companies, wengine wako specialized in politics, wengine wako specialized in matters of economy. As Mwelekeo Insights, do you have any specific area?
We deal with a lot of national issues across a wide range of issues, and this includes social and economic research. We deal with electoral and political research. We also do monitoring and evaluation to impact assessment, and of course lastly we deal with opinion polling and public sentiments research.
Najua kuna mtu anawash na anashindwa, when you talk about social and economic research, what does it entail? Nini? What is this?
Well, social and economic research includes topical societal economic matters. We analyze trends relating to poverty, education sector, healthcare, and not only these three, but of course a lot more around this. These studies are geared towards supporting African organizations and governments, NGOs, that is national government, non-governmental organizations, and of course global institutions. This helps them in shaping policies that are geared towards community development.
Out of the blues, do you have an example?
Well, for instance, we would endeavor to focus on investigating the challenges that women face in starting and scaling up their businesses in Kenya. Yeah, that is one of the major examples.
Another area that you've mentioned and I'm very interested in is about electoral and political research. This is an area niko sure watu wengi wenye wana watch pale wanaweza penda kujua, what does it entail? Nyinyi mnadeal nini, mnafanya nini kuhusiana na electoral and political research?
Well, using rigorous empirical methods and bearing in mind that politics is a center issue in anything and everything that we do, we use rigorous empirical methods to conduct polling and to analyze voter behavior, candidate popularity, and of course governance perceptions. Like in this particular times in the country, we'd want to see what are people saying about this particular candidate politically, what are people saying about the current governance in the country. And this political research informs stakeholders like parties, policymakers, and of course the media about the current trends and the probable shifting in opinions. For instance, we would look into examining the performance of a county government in delivering vital basic services to the Kenyan taxpayer. Yeah.
So very soon tutajua who is leading pale presidential towards 2027.
Yeah, we will definitely give what the ground is saying. Yeah.
So mjue kwamba tunafuatilia pia kwenye ground inasema. So as a consumer of research and data, be assured that Mwelekeo Insights will be bringing you some of these electoral and political research. Another area that you've mentioned and it's of interest to me is monitoring, evaluation, and impact assessment. How does this help? Or better still, how does this happen?
Well, through a very well-structured monitoring and evaluation, we track the performance and development initiatives. This includes projects done by the government and, of course, even the programs that are carried out by the NGOs. The insights that we do the research under this particular segment is to help measure the impact, assess progress, and refine strategies towards effectiveness of particular programs. For instance, we'd want to assess the effectiveness of a public health campaign in promoting vaccination and preventing health practices in rural counties. Yeah.
Now, as a researcher, when you talk about monitoring, evaluation, and impact, does this assist the government in coming up with policies? Ama, how does this work?
Yes, this, as I have mentioned, this kind of research helps to ensure to measure impact and assess the progress. And is it in a particular program or other project that is being carried out by either an NGO or even the government itself? It influences the decision making. How impactful is this particular project or other program that we want to invest in this particular community? So like I've given you an example by saying we'd want to assess the effectiveness of a public health campaign promoting vaccination and preventive health practices in rural counties. Like for instance, recently they've been giving injections wale watu wadogo wa miaka midogo. So I mean that is something that has to be done through research. Of course we had various discourses around the same. People were for it and others were not for it. So monitoring and evaluation probably looks like this. This is where we approach such kind of issues. Yeah.
Another area of research that you've said mnafanya is about opinion polling and public sentiment. Let's just begin by opinion polling. Hii entail nini? What does it entail? Sababu I've always watched a TV na naona watu wana release data wanasema huyu na huyu, opinion polls zinasema hivi, nani anaongoza. Is this something that also your company mnafanya?
Well, in opinion polling and public sentiment research, as a research institution, we use methodologies that focus on transparency and accuracy and overall inclusivity. Because in this particular sector, we have so many people that would put up polls, but are they transparent? Are they accurate? Are they reliable? So, of course, in this particular segment, we conduct scientific public opinion polling to gauge the attitudes of the people or the towards politics in governance and even in the economy at large, consumer behavior, and of course the broader social issues that are within the society. Yeah.
Let's talk about, you've talked about opinion polls nini, we head into the 2027 election. Na kuna watu wanasema kuna wakati mwingine wanatoa kitu kidogo ndio tuweke pale juu tukue number 1 ndio angalau watu wajue kwamba sisi ndio tunaongoza as politicians. Now, what guides Mwelekeo Insight in terms of opinion polling and public sentiment in terms of values?
Well, as a research organization, we do have core values and we are governed with our values any day, any time. We focus on transparency, we focus on accuracy, we focus on inclusivity. We don't only pick a particular segment of people that they are the opinion holders for a particular issue. Issues are across the whole community, and all inclusivity guides us in focusing on this kind of research. Talking
about inclusivity, it doesn't mean that nyinyi mko focused tu mahali pamoja. So it's an all-rounded.
Yeah.
Unaweza confirm?
Yeah, we deal with that wide array, a wide array of issues.
Now, let's talk about some of the example under the opinion polling and public sentiments.
Well, we'd put up a poll to want to know what are people saying about the president, what are people saying about the deputy president, what about the governor, what about the member of cabinet assembly, or even the member of parliament. So we put up a poll and we get approval, assess the approval and ratings of each particular docket, and what are people saying, and are they doing their work or not. So such kind of opinion polls are what determine or rather influence what to say, what is the ground saying about a particular person. Yeah. If
you're just joining us, this is Mwelekeo TV, and today I'm hosting Frida, who happens to be one of the members at Mwelekeo Insights. Just take us through, sababu kuna mtu labda amejoin sahi anashangaa, what are you guys talking about? So just give us a sneak preview kwa anybody ambaye amejoin sahi about what Mwelekeo Insight is all about.
Well, Mwelekeo Insight is a Kenyan-based research organization that specializes in research, in data-driven analysis, and to influence across all issues that operate within a country.
Now, research is very expensive. I must confess. And I'm quite sure as Mwelekeo Insights, there is always a structure of leadership. Kuna vitu ambavyo mnafanya, watu wako na role tofauti. Now let's talk about Frida, your role at Mwelekeo Insights ni nini?
Well, as Frida at Mwelekeo Insights, I am a researcher. And of course, we have a whole structure, as you've mentioned. In this particular structure, we have the head, where is the managing director, who oversees partnerships, leads in corporate growth, and of course, in fieldwork, coordinates fieldwork and provides strategy and what we go ahead to do. We have departments in Mwelekeo Insights.
Just mention some of the departments.
Well, I'll mention 4 departments that are key and central in overall operations. We have research and data department. We have administration and finance. We have legal and compliance. And of course, lastly, we have business development and communication.
Let's talk about legal and compliance, maswala ya kisheria, because niko sure this is one of the most important aspect. Sababu unatumia data ya mtu, anashangaa, is my data protected? Jua. Sababu labda utakwenda ufanye research kule Murang'a, alafu upate kuna mtu ambaye hataki kuonekana. How does this happen as from the legal aspect of it?
Well, this is a very central department in our research. Legal and compliance, we have legal advisory, the regulatory compliance, ethics and data protection. Under this particular department, we need to go through the channels, or rather that are constitutionally recognized, to ensure that we are working within the confines of the governance of a country. Because otherwise, tuende pale ground, we are doing our own stuff, we have no papers, we have no approval from the chief, local chief, the local leadership. I mean, tunaweza tukapigwa mawe on ground. So this is why we have to have this particular department that advises us in what legal channels to take, and of course to comply on what is expected of us as a research organization.
Data protection is very important. Sababu siku hizi tunasikia data zimeibiwa, mjua data zimekuwa shared. How, as an organization, do you deal with this issue of data protection?
Well, as I have mentioned, we ensure that we are working within the confines of what is provided for us in the Constitution, and of course in the data protection rights. And we also have an ICT team that ensures that our data is equally safe. We are not only safeguarding our users and our people that we are going to collect data from, but of course safeguarding our data from access of third-party people that are not supposed to be in ownership of that kind of research material. Yeah.
So anybody ambaye amekuwa interviewed na Mwelekeo Insights ako guaranteed that their data is safe, cannot be exposed.
Yes.
Sasa, let's talk about the research and data department. Wanadili na nini haswa?
Well, this is a particular department that formulates and designs this kind of studies that we carry out. It coordinates the fieldwork, data processing, analysis at large, and of course, presentation of the data that we shall have collected and analyzed. Yes.
Now, we've talked about the legal, we've talked about the research and data department. Now, let's have a look at the administration and finance. Sababu pale kwa pesa ndio kuna kuanga na kizungumkuti. Wanashangaa pesa inatoka wapi?
Yeah.
As a research company, nyinyi mnatoa pesa wapi? How do you ensure that your research is well funded? How can you talk about it?
Well, under administration and finance, we have financial management. We have the HR that looks at recruitment. Of course, Mwelekeo deserves manpower. This is where we get researchers. We have young people who are ready to work, are ready to be, are very enthusiastic about research and data. So this is through the HR that we get the very competent young faces that you see in our research organization. We have the procurement and logistics. Our Sunday wanna facilitate the amount of money that people are gonna use. We'll need to have people on ground. So they are facilitated. A logistics and procurement officer ensures that money has been disbursed and of the right amount, and of course of the right sustenance for the type and the period that they will be there. And of course on our research funding, they ensure that everything is within the budget and as the proposal as it had initially stated. Yeah.
Now let's get to another department, business development and communication. Labda kuna mtu anashangaa, I need to communicate with Mwelekeo Insights. Nastahili nataka kufanya kazi, nataka kuwapatia kazi ili I have a research that needs to go to be done.
Yeah.
So how do I go about it?
It is actually through this department that you can reach us, because ndio tufikie, you cannot go through a legal or other administration department to reach us. We have a department that deals with people that would want to partner with us, people that would want to take part in one of our research, people that would want that to have a client relationship, to come and tell us that we would want to do this with you. This is through this particular department that we get requests and proposals of people that would want to go ahead and work with us. In this particular department that I've also mentioned, there is communication. Hapo ndipo penye we have social handles. It's through this particular department that goes through our social handles, manages them to ensure that what are people saying about Mwelekeo equally, even as we are also saying about other kind of researches that we carry out. So of course, this is a particular department that is critical.
Labda there's a private organization ambao wanaangalia Mwelekeo Insights, unaona kazi yao ni mzuri, na wanashindwa. Are you working with the government peke yake, ama you working with NGOs, ama any other institution?
Well, as I had mentioned, we work on a wide array of national issues, and of course not only limited within government. We work with NGOs to influence policies, to influence decision making, any kind of research.
No, just this it brings me up to some of the areas that you talked about in our previous segment. Can you just mention some of the areas kwa wale ambao wanafungulia labda YouTube kwa sasa wanashindwa, some of the areas that Mwelekeo Insights wana deal nazo ni kama gani?
Well, we say that we do social and economic research. We also do monitoring and evaluation. We do opinion polling, and we go ahead to lastly do electoral and political research. Yes.
So guys, I've been speaking to Frida Mongare, who happens to be there.
Researcher at Mwelekeo Insights.
A researcher at Mwelekeo Insights. Now, Frida, tuko karibu kumaliza show. We are about to just conclude the show. Just give us your parting shot about what you think, what's your take about the research industry in the country, and what we should look forward to as Mwelekeo Insights.
Well, as I had mentioned, we have a vision as Mwelekeo Insights, and we look towards becoming the most outstanding research company that focuses on issues that actually matter to the people. And of course, we have gone beyond the theory. You know, theory, we've been doing research and putting it in theory on social media, on written materials. But now Mwelekeo TV has come on board. We are going to have putting faces to the research that we actually, to the data. Yeah, so of course, it's such a good avenue, and please make sure to follow us. You will not be disappointed.
Anajua pia uko na social media, watu wakitaka kukupata kama Frida watakupataje kama Frida Mongare?
Well, Frida Mongare, use my on Facebook it's Nyakerario Mongare, on Instagram it's Miss Mongare or rather Nyakerario Mongare, TikTok it's Nyakerario Mongare. Yeah, I'm on all social media pages. Feel free to engage, interact, and even client relations. You can reach us for any partnership or even future engagements.
Now, if you're a big consumer of data research, then I'm quite sure you're conversant kitu kimoja ama mbili kuhusiana na masuala ya research kutokea Mwelekeo Insights. My name is Tony Nyakoko, and remember tuko kwenye mitandao Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X. Ni siku hizi inaitwa X. Formerly Twitter. Yeah. Yes, on X pia utatupata kama Mwelekeo Insights. Kindly subscribe. Tuko na research ambazo zinakuja very soon, and also you can subscribe on our YouTube channel. It is Mwelekeo TV. I'm Tony Nyakoko. You can follow me on all my social media platforms, Tony Nyakoko. Na pale Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's at Tony Nyakoko. Until next time, we're coming up with another segment, but until next time, keep it locked.
Welcome back to Mwelekeo TV. I'm Frida Mongare, and in this second part of the show, I will be your TV host. Now, Tony has been leading us through the first half, but this particular segment, I will be your host and he will be my guest in the spirit of gender equality. Yeah, thank you so much. I want us to talk about how Mwelekeo Insights actually does it work. And Tony, I'd want you to help us understand how Mwelekeo carries out its studies, whether they follow the right channels, the right practices, and of course, some of the studies that you people have done and why they matter to the common mwananchi.
Thank you so much, Frida. Unajua sasa mimi ndio niko kwenye hot seat sasa. Let me just begin by saying research is expensive. Unajua ukisikia kuwa kampuni imefanya research na wame-release their findings, wajua there's a very rigorous process that went into it. And that also what happens at Mwelekeo Insights. We don't just release opinions. Atuendi kwenye ground tunasema tunahoji watu. No, it's a process. Na any process ambayo ikinawashika dau tofauti. We have a team of individuals who we sit down, have discussions, look at what is happening, what is trending. It's not just about collecting opinion, as I said. It's a whole process. And number one, we begin with a very, very pertinent question where we ask, what is the real question Kenyans are currently struggling with? Na kuangalia opinion, ukiangalia research ambazo tumezifanya, we'll talk about them later on. But tutapata kwamba they are up to date. Baba kuna kitu ambacho kinafanyika that needs our attention, then we go for it. Baba kuna kitu ambacho kinastahili kufanywa utafiti, then we'll go for it. And that's why at Mwelekeo we are always on time. Tunahakikisha kwamba what we are going to do our research on is always on time. Tuna ensure that we bring you the real time, what's happening. Unajua tuende kuuliza maswali ya kitambo. We're just asking about what's revolving around us. And then one thing we take very serious is representation. Kenya is a country of diverse individuals and diverse cultures. And so representation is core for us. We always ensure that tunakwenda kule mashinani and anybody and everybody, hatuchagui, hatubagui. And another thing is that Kenya being a diverse country and of different regions, ages, and income levels, and also cultural backgrounds, we make sure our samples reflect the diversity of the people of Kenya. And also, we are not just capturing one group of people. We ensure that we capture a different society, different group of people. And finally, there's always the issue of data, consent. And one thing about us is that we don't just conduct research, we always ensure that we are guided by policy and legal frameworks, as you rightfully put it when we began. Ethics is at the heart of what we do, and every respondent knows their voice matters. Unajua, iwapo wewe uko na an opinion that needs to be aired, when he ask you that very question, know that your opinion matters. For us, every opinion from everybody matters, but also their privacy, the privacy of the people that we try to interview, secured. Hatutaki kucheza na data ya mtu yoyote, because data breach is very expensive, especially if it goes the legal way. Another thing, we use informed consent. Keep identities confidential and stay transparent about how we use the data we collect to ensure data is protected and only used for research purposes. Hakuna kitu kingine. Wote hiyo unajua kuna watu wanasema mimi nilifanywa research alafu kuna mtu akakuja akani text baadaye nikimuuliza anasema no. For us they are only for research purposes. So for anybody ambaye tunafanya research na wao, we conducting interviews, they are assured that their data is well protected.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. And maybe would you want to have that in a nutshell? Maybe what does Mwelekeo Insights do?
In short, what I'm trying to say as Mwelekeo Insights, credibility comes from a very careful design. Credibility. Sababu tutaki mtu anaanza kujiuliza maswali, hii data, hawa watu walivyofanya hii research, is it questionable? No. We try to unajaribu kuziba any loophole that may come along. Another thing is representation and ethics. That's how we ensure our findings aren't just numbers on papers, but a mirror of what Kenyans are really thinking and feeling. We'll have a breakdown of what we've done, and you'll find out that this is the feeling of the Kenyan who is on the ground, ambaye anapitia maswala tofauti. So we try to bring out the feeling of what every Kenyan feels.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. You have walked us through how Mwelekeo does its studies. Let's now turn to the work itself. Could you briefly highlight some of the studies that you as Mwelekeo Insights have carried out and the context within which they were carried out?
So far, tumefanya researches 5. We've conducted 5 researches for a company that's still this young. 5 researches with the financial implication that comes along. Trust you me, we've pulled it. Number 1, we did a research on the attitude of women aged between 18 and 30 towards marriage. This was our first ever research we conducted with a very huge scope of people that we interviewed, and interesting facts we found.
And maybe you've mentioned age 18 to 30. Why 18 to 30 as a researcher?
As a researcher, between the ages of 18 to 30, number 1, we're looking at the legal implications. Number 1, between 18 and 30, this is an adult. Wewe ni mtu mzima. Hatutaki tunaenda tufanya interview mtu wa miaka 14, alafu inakuwa ni kesi baadaye. No, we're trying as much as we can. Sometimes even we ask for IDs. Wewe tuonyesha ID yako, because we don't want legal implications. Number 2 is about, during this time, mwanamke ana nguvu, ana energy. And between ages 18 and 30 is when there's career progression, mtu anataka kustudy, and also during this period is when women begin to think about settling down. So that is the age gap ambayo tulikuwa tunajaribu kuangalia.
That is quite insightful, having considered women age 18 to 30. Now we have the why 18 to 30. Well, what is the second research or third? The
second research we conducted was on governance, and we did the impact of Kenya's fiscal policies on its citizens, the issues of taxation, government spending, and also the cost of living. We just wanted the voice of the people to be part of this very discussion and this very debate, because people are complaining, uchumi unazorota, taxation iko juu. Unajua, sababu ilikuja wakati palikuwa na ile housing levy, watu wanatozwa ushuru kuhusiana na manyumba, na the president was still insisting that houses needs to be built, the country needs to move forward, and that's why we brought up this very debate about taxation, overspending, and how governance is.
Well, such kind of research portrays the actual picture of what mwananchi is saying. Even the political class. For
us as Mwelekeo, we're trying to bring out the actual fact. What are people feeling on the ground? Kuna kitu ambacho kinafanyika, if we can go for it, then we always go for it all out.
What is the third research or fourth that you people did?
President William Ruto reshuffled his cabinet, akaleta watu wengine kwenye serikali, watu wa upinzani, unajua kama Joho akaingia kwa serikali, Lee Kenyan akaingia kwa serikali, Oparanya, Mutahi Kagwe. These are some of the figures that were in the opposition during the 2022 campaigns. And so President William Ruto threw a broad-based government. Akaamua, 2027 inakaribia, so I need to have a broad-based government that included opposition figures.
That is the modern day nusu mkate. So what did you guys intend to find out?
We intended to find out the people's feeling, because some of these cabinet secretaries wengine walikuwa na scandals, unajua. Sababu kuna scandal kama the port of Mombasa, the misappropriation of funds in the counties of Kakamega. So people had a mixed feeling about these leaders ambao wanakuja kwenye serikali kwa sasa. So we wanted to have a look at what people really think about these new faces that President William Ruto was introducing to the government. And mark you, some of the people that were being introduced into the government campaigned against the president.
So it was a very even sworn to not even dine with the guy.
Tukianza kudig some of these clips utashtuka. But for us it's just to do a research and to bring the people's feeling to the public.
The mixed reactions around that. Yeah, that's really nice. It's quite a really serious research that anyone would want to go ahead and look at the findings.
Yes.
And maybe the fourth and fifth research that you people have done?
The fourth was about the Gen Z demonstrations. Man, hii ilikuwa very interesting because it came at a time when Kenya people were saying, quote unquote, Kenya was burning because Gen Z walienda all out. They wanted the finance bill itupuliwe mbali. Wanasema President William Ruto need to reshuffle his cabinet. And so what happened is that you wanted to look the 30 plus age of this group, what they felt about this new movement of Gen Z, because it was just like a spring. People were just demonstrating on social media, alafu from nowhere, they came to the street. And so the 30 plus millennials wanted a feeling of what they have about what they thought about this very group of individuals, the Gen Z.
The Gen Z.
Yeah.
Well, baby, I'm curious to ask, wewe uko pande gani? Are you 30 plus? Are you Gen Z? Wewe ni Gen Z gani by blood?
Mimi niko Gen Z by blood, but millennial by age.
Oh God.
So when we were covering this, when we were covering this research, tukiona naandamana, unajua mimi na fit huku, naenda huku, so it was a very
unagemea pande zote.
Unagemea pande zote.
Gen Z by association. Well, maybe you could now tell me about the most recent one that sparked a lot of discourses around the country.
The most recent to release a research a few weeks ago. It was about men's attitude towards the bride price tradition. The bride price tradition has been there for ages. And so we wanted a feeling of men between the ages of 30 and 45 about what they feel about the bride price tradition and whether they support, want to oppose any alternatives that they think should be embraced by the community. And it was a very interesting finding that Well,
as opposed to the first research that you actually mentioned, if I may take you back, you mentioned that women that you did research on around marriage was around age 18 to 30, and you elaborated as to why 18 to 30. Maybe would you feel free to tell us why 30 to 45 in this particular section where you're talking about men's attitude towards bride price?
So what we are factoring in, tukiangalia between the ages of 30 and 45, number one, most of them are married. Majority of them are married, and some are seriously thinking about marriage. Unajua? Mtu amefika ule umri wa kuoa lakini bado hajaoa. So they are seriously thinking about settling down. So these are the people who are looking for. Another thing is about some of them are also in the working class. Wengine wako in a position to work. Now, that is the scope of individuals that we're trying to look at.
So for women, the actual prime age is around 18 to 30.
Because society, unajua na society, according to me, leave alone the opinion, according to society ambayo imefanya wanawake wanafeel ukifika age 30 na bado hujalewa kuna tashwish, kuna maswali.
Society has defined that. But
very interesting facts about between 18 and 30.
But for men it's 30 to 45.
30 to 45. Unajua wanaume you still stable hata ukiwa 40 forever young. Tuna appreciate.
Well, I realize that all these your researches are really based on contemporary times and contemporary happenings, or rather occurrences within the country. Maybe when you put all these kind of researches together, what do you deduce from all this?
What you deduce is that Kenya is on transition. Unajua tukiangalia masuala ya economically, socially, politically, Kenya is shifting. and we're trying to bring the realness, the real time of what's happening in our society today. And that's what Mwelekeo Insights does.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. You have walked us through the studies and why they actually mattered at the time. But I'm curious, every research or every research project that you've mentioned on the moments and these particular findings, I am very sure that there is one finding or other responses that you are getting, and it got you eye-struck. I mean, it was an eye-opening insight. Would you mind telling us some of the few, sentiments or other findings that were kind of surprising to you as a researcher?
Number one, utafiti ambao tulifanya, it was about young women and marriage. The study was about young women and marriage between the ages of 18 and 30. Let me just ask you a very quick question, because it was part of our discussion when you are conducting this research. Can you settle for a man for financial benefits?
Well, it will be dependent. It will be dependent if bad has gotten to worse, then I think that is actually a reason as to, women are created to be protected and to be provided for. If protection to a woman looks like economic support, spiritual and all other. So of course, it is actually one of the reasons as to why I or many other women would settle.
The reason Bona Nauliza is because 51% of the women we interviewed between the ages of 18 and 30 were willing and open to get into a polygamous marriage. And one of the reasons why they say this, wanasema kwamba for them right now, with these hard and tough economic times, they need financial freedom. So wanasema if they pata mtu ambaye iko ready to take up the mantle of providing for them financially, then for them they are okay. Hawajali kuwa mke wa pili, provided yeye part yake, the man plays his part, then for her ako sawa. That was the finding that really struck me.
So, well, you as a young man, such kind of a finding, what does that, communicate to you?
It tells me that Kenya is on motion. Kenya is moving, because vitu kama hizo ungesikiza enzi za kitambo, unajua. A few years back ungeambia, every parent was like, mtoto wangu nenda shule, soma, ukue independent, unajua. But when you find a 51%, staggering 51% of young women in the country saying, maze, mimi niko tayari kuwa mke wa pili, niko tayari, me provided my finances are taken care of, I'm okay with that, then it's in maisha ya Kenya it's awakened.
These are really quite interesting findings that we are getting from our guest today. Well, what other surprising finding caught you struck?
The other the other research we conducted, impact on fiscal policies. Kenyans, Kenya hata kwa mitandao tunajulikana kama you cannot oppress Kenyans. Kama kitu haiwafurahishi, they'll go out. Unaona kama Gen Z finance bill, tumeondoka. Kama ni kuna housing levy, hatutaki. So the issue, we expected frustration about taxes. That's one thing that when we went to the ground is what we expected. But funny enough, a majority of them, they said, yes, there might be financial misappropriation, but what surprised us was how clearly people linked government spending to fairness. Unajua, wanasema if government needs to spend, then there needs to be fairness. Unajua, projects zionekane. Don't overtax Kenyans, and yet our only these developments ambazo ziko kwenye ground. So a majority of Kenyans felt like as much as the government is taxing them, there needs to be visible implementations of development that they can see and that they can feel and that they can touch.
So you're telling me there's a very huge percentage of people that were in support of the taxation that we were actually, this is too much. There are people that were in support of the same.
Yes, funny, there is surprisingly kuna watu ambao walikuwa very okay with it. Wanasema provided it will take our country moving forward, then wako sawa.
Oh dear. Well, what other finding caught you by surprise?
It's about the Gen Z. We did another research on the Gen Z uprising in the country. And funny enough, we wanted to get a feeling and the feeling of the 30 plus individuals about the Gen Z movement that was uprising in the country, you know. And funny enough, 30 plus individuals walisema wao wako sawa. They feel that the Gen Z, they are fighting for their rights, so they supported them in every aspect. Walisema if that's what it calls for accountability, then they are okay with it.
Well, there's so many leaders that used to talk at the time, and they would say that kila mtu afungie mtoto wake kwa nyumba. So you want to tell me they are actually millennials and parents, or rather 30 plus, that were in support, and they felt like this is courage on.
They were in support, but one thing they said, they disagreed with the methodology, the method that they are using to exercise their frustrations, because they said the destruction of properties was one of the things, noting that there are other avenues that can be used to highlight their grievances. Na wakasema picketing and protest si mbaya, but when it gets to a point like destruction of property, sababu we conducted the research after the burning of parliament, and also after the burning of the nyumba ya Sakaja inaitwaje, City Hall. Some of the issues ambao walikuwa wasema it's okay, they can air out their grievances, we admire their courage, but when it comes to destruction of property, that's when they draw the line.
So it's sort of picketing with the regulation. That is. Any other, maybe out of the other 5 researches that you did?
On the public confidence in Ruto's January 2025 cabinet reshuffle, this is where the rubber was meeting the bullet, because President William Ruto reshuffled his cabinet in January. Kwanza alituma all cabinet secretaries home except one, Musalia Mudavadi, and so he was reshuffling his cabinet. And what happened is that he introduced a new group of individuals, and among them were members of the opposition. And this is what struck a chord in a majority of Kenyans. Wanasema these particular individuals, some of them had scandals, na wengine wao walikuwa in the past regime. Are there no new faces ambazo zinaweza kuwa introduced into the cabinet? And that was the basing point of our research.
Well, in this particular time, I remember there were a lot of discussions around the reshuffling. And in your finding, I mean, what are people saying? Do people think that this was a correct move? Do people think this is a wrong move? What are people saying about the new particular faces that were now brought into the house?
Some of the things that Kenyans were looking into was the track record of these individuals. Track record. Sababu wengine walikuwa kwenye public eye, public service. Sababu wanajaribu kuangalia kulinganisha record ya kwao ilikuwaje, walifanya kazi aje, and some of their records were very wanting because some of them were engaged in corruption scandals, and that's why Kenyans were questioning why was it politically motivated, is he eyeing the 2027 race? And another thing was the integrity and competence of these individuals. Yes.
So as a researcher, this shows you that indeed Kenyans wako chonjo, wako macho mbaya.
Yes, Kenyans unajua wanafuatilia masuala ambayo yanafanyika nchini Kenya. If there's anything, any misstep that the president makes, especially on this matter of cabinet reshuffle, introducing cabinet secretaries that were in the past regime, and funny enough, some of these cabinet secretaries vowed not to ever associate themselves with President William Ruto, lakini tuliwaona pale status wakikula Biblia.
Well, I'll quickly want to maybe get now the very last research that you people, the most recent one that Mwelekeo Insights did, and it targeted you men. So ni finding gani kabisa ili kupata as a researcher ukasema
Our last research was very interesting and intriguing. Sababu tulikuwa tunaangalia masuala ya mahari, unajua dowry and bride price. It's a practice that has been in existence for years. Na tukajaribu kuangalia between the ages of 30 to 45 and their attitude towards bride price. And the majority of men still support the bride price culture, but there are also alternatives from men who ambao wanasema kwamba we need to be allowed to share, to cost share this thing. Unajua mimi nitoe 50, wewe toa 50, alafu tuna decide sasa hii itaendea nani. Another thing, wengine wanasema acha niishi na wewe mwanamke kwanza nipate kujua kama tunaendana. Kama tuendani, amenizalia sawa, mimi nitalea, lakini kama tuendani, wewe naenda, mimi niende zangu. Then and other side wakasema kwamba we need to have a gradual payment of this dowry. Hii mwaka kubali nilipe 10,000, next year 10,000, next year nilete mbuzi, ng'ombe, unajua.
What do you mean?
Gradual payment of
you take a woman on lipa mdogo mdogo, gradual payment. Is it actually something that is happening?
There are people who confess. There's a guy in Machakos ambaye alisema wamekubaliana na wazazi yako sawa. Wazazi wanampatia na token kila mwezi ama kila mwaka, ikiwa mbaya ni kila mwaka anarushia mzazi kitu because the financial capacity hawezi kutoa mara moja. And that's why we were looking at some of the factors is the financial obligation. Kuna watu ambao wanajiweza, kuna wale ambao hawajiwezi. So wale ambao hawajiwezi wanasema we need to be given alternatives. Kama alternative moja ni that we need to be allowed to pay gradually. Kesho kesho kutwa mtondo, nalipa tu polepole hadi siku nitamaliza.
And why would you subject a woman into paying 50-50 surely? Nitoe 50 zangu, toe 50 zako, then
unajua majority of them wanasema kwamba it's because that, why do you think your parent wanasema wewe unastahili kutolewa mahari? Why do you think your parents believe they should be given the bride price?
Well, this is part of culture and tradition. This is part of culture and tradition, and it's symbolism. It's not even a purchase or whatever, but it's just a symbol, and we have to like be glued to our cultures even as the times are changing. Now, and westernization is taking over.
As a researcher, kuna vitu ambavyo vilijitokeza pale.
Yeah.
Watu walikuwa wanasema, kitu cha kwanza is that as a woman, some parents walikuwa wanasema mtoto wangu amekwenda shule, amesoma, amefanya masters, amefanya nini, unajua. And you look on this other side, ukiangalia the other side, the man pia mwenyewe amesoma, amekwenda shule, nani ata reward babake? Who will reward the family? And this and ndio maana wanaume wanasema if the woman's family is to be rewarded, then the man's family also needs to be rewarded.
Well, for the 50-50, it kind of also supports the feminism agenda, whereby equality. So the 50, you give 50, I give 50. Looks like we are on the same scope. So yeah, there's no power difference here.
It's interesting because the men between the ages of 30 and 45 inaonyesha kwamba it's the generation ambayo imefunguka kiakili, and they are very ready to embrace new ideas, new ideology, alternatives. Unajua kitambo ilikuwa lipa tu mahari. Unajua there's one person tulienda Kirinyaga akatuambia kwamba yeye alifukuzwa. Amambiwa wewe leta crate 10 za soda, leta ng'ombe, sijui leta kikapu, sijui nini. He was not in a position to deliver. Akaambiwa boss, enda. And that's why they beginning wanaanza kusema we need to embrace this new whatevers.
Well, amid being shocked across all these researches that you did, and you found some sentiments or other findings quite surprising to you as a researcher. What does this communicate to you? What does this tell you?
It tells me that we're living in very interesting times. As a country, as a community, we are living in very interesting times. Because if people can embrace this, because I believe kuna society, there's a parent we asked about, kuna uwezekano yeye si lazima mwa kijana atoe bride price. Akisema yeye provided they can go live happily thereafter, for them they are okay. Because kama kijana atakuwa anatoa appreciation kidogo kidogo, it's okay. But for him, peace is what matters vis-a-vis the money and the bride price.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tony. I feel like you've really delved into this issue critically, and I feel like our viewers are at a better position to understand and even wish to go ahead and look at the findings that were collected by Mwelekeo Insights. Just to wrap this particular discussion up, when you look across all these studies together, from the social ones to the related to governance ones, the political ones, you can be sure that they touch on the economic situation, what picture they paint about the country, what picture they paint about the political landscape, what picture they paint about the economic status in the country. And really, indeed, they are dealing with real-time issues, and in real time giving us feedback in real time. So maybe, Tony, before I go ahead to call this show off, you can have your parting shot. What do you have to tell your viewers and even anyone that would wish to engage or even interact with the findings?
Number one is that at Mwelekeo, we do atudiri na serikali peke yake. We are open-minded. We conduct researches on different aspects, different areas in life. Na pia we shall be releasing our next research in the next few weeks. And so Kenyans should be glued. Sababu itakuwa ni very interesting. For us, we're just trying to bring out we don't want to box ourselves in a one scope. Tunataka tuende all out. If it's happening, then let's give it all out. So Kenyans should just wait. Subscribe to our channels, our YouTube, na pia on our socials unaweza kutupata, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Mwelekeo Insights. We have our up-to-date researches that we've uploaded on all our social media platforms. Unaweza kwenda kuzipata kule, well-tabled, well-delivered. Unajua, pale hatubahatishi. Iwapo if those research companies wanatoa data ambazo hazieleweki, for us you'll find it. Because we've conducted, like the last research we conducted, we interviewed more than 18,000 individuals. By way of phone, one-on-one, you understand? So we always try to go all out. As much as ni expensive, but tunajaribu sana to go all out. Keep it glued. We shall conduct more researches.
Well, as you've heard from the horse's mouth himself, Tony, this has been our very first episode as Mwelekeo TV, where data meets dialogue. And from Tony and myself, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. See you next time. Also, reach us on our social handles, and anytime, any day, be on the lookout. We may be releasing new research finding, as he's mentioned, 2 weeks in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.